Good day and welcome. You are on Veritas Radio and Television of the Catholic Archdiocese of Douala. Always a pleasure having you in special occasions like this. Today on this program, we are going to be talking the family, which is the basic unit of human society, the church, which is a spiritual institution, and the state, which is meant to govern. And the center of our discussion will certainly be on young people. And that is why we have guests who are going to edify each and every one of us on how young people can be made to live as a better a future society. And as a tradition, we have spiritual mothers who are going to not only be edifying you, but also to let each and every one of you contribute to the success of the lives of young people. Each and every one of us has an assignment to contribute to the well-being of young people, and that is essentially what this program is all about. My name is John Neba. Stay tuned. Veritas Radio and Television of the Catholic Archdiocese of Douala. The family, the church, and the state all have important roles to play as far as the well-being of young people is concerned. But unfortunately, actors in these different places of life sometimes do not do what is expected of them. And so they tend to be detrimental to the lives of young people. How are these structures who are supposed to, help young people, help mold young people morally, destroying their lives? On the contrary, we want to look at all those instances and see how we can seek solutions to these problems. Reverend Father Christopher Gekum, the Archdiocesan Youth and Infant Chaplain, it's a pleasure having you once again.
Thank you, John Niba. It's always my pleasure, a very great pleasure to be at this particular panel to talk on issues that are burning in our society.
Nkie Martin, a young person, a parent, but also a young person of the Archdiocese of Douala. They say youthfulness can continue and continue as far as it can go. And if you are here today, is to also contribute to the well-being of young people. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear spectators. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear spectators. I'm very honored to be a participant in this particular broadcast.
Certainly, we are going to be talking quite a number of things. Father, the family, the church, and even the state.
That's
if we
right.
are talking about the well-being of young people today, these three structures are directly concerned. But now, there is a paradox when it has to do with talking about the same structures destroying the lives of youth. How are they detrimental to the lives of youths? How do we understand this?
First of all, we should go to the origin of all these structures, and why they are put in place. Because the family is God's own creation. The family is in the mind of God, even the state. How much more of the church? And so the family, when you look at the Bible speaks about family life. When God created man in his image, he said it was not good for man to be alone. And he created man in his own image, male and female, he created them. In Genesis chapter 2, from verse 17 to 24, man will leave his father and mother and get to his wife, and the two will become one. So marriage, the family is a divinely, institution. That is why God, through the family, human beings, pass into this world. When you look at the family of Nazareth, and we compare that to the family of Nazareth, God wanted the family to be like the family of Nazareth, because the family is not only father and mother, it also includes the children and every other thing that are there. The family is the new Garden of Eden that God created. And so they have responsibilities. God gave them responsibilities. In the book of Ephesians chapter 5, from verse 17, God says, parents, don't annoy your children. Bring them up in the fear of the Lord. And the commandment of God is that, the fourth commandment, children, honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long on earth. And when we are talking of the church is a divine institution, founded by Christ himself on the apostles. In Matthew chapter 16 from verse 13 following, Jesus told Peter, I am going to build my church on you, the rock, so that no evil will be able to overcome this, and you will do the works I am doing. The role of the church in the world is to propagate goodness, bring lost people to salvation. It means that the devil is also in the world, and the powers of the evil one will not overcome. It means that the church is to fight against all this and not allow any human being to go astray. Because Jesus says, I came to serve and not to be served. So the church is a servant in the world. And that's why in Matthew 10, from verse 1, he says, sends out the disciples to the world to say, go into the lost sheep of the people of Israel and bring the dead back to life, proclaim the good news of salvation. Matthew 28, from verse 18 to 20, Jesus says what? I send you out to go and announce the good news of Christ, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. And when the state comes in, the state is also founded by God himself, because it is God who founded states, divided them into boundaries, and created leaders. If you find the book of Kings, you see how Moses, first of all, the King David, King Solomon, how they were in the heart of God, because Solomon even asked for wisdom so that he can rule the people well in the mind of God. God destroyed the kings that were always terrible. Those kings that were wicked, God did not accept them. And that is why we find that these evil things are in the families today, even in the church, and also in the state. They all participate. We are not talking of the good things the family does, and the church and the state. We are looking at the bad things, the wicked things they do against young people. That is why we are here.
Martin, Mr. Nkie, you belong to a family.
Yes,
What are some of the problems you have in your family?
Well, generally, the family is, as Father rightly said, it is the foundation of God's greatest will. It's actually the come together, the legal come together of a man and a woman to bring offsprings, and they have that duty to educate them, upgrade them morally, teach hygiene, the fear of God, and always to ensure that these children are well brought up and become successful stories in the society. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Well, generally, the difficulties which most families face, the lack of communication, less care of parents, due to the fact that some parents actually come together maybe through forceful marriage. They maybe don't actually have enough time for courtesy to understand themselves, and getting into marital status, that is when they discover that they may be problem, and sometimes tend to shy away, thereby abandoning the other partner with the children. And situations like that can cause the child or the children to actually grow up one-sided. You see, it becomes very difficult because a child, let's say a girl child, a female child who grows up with uniquely the mother, will always have lack of respect for the male gender. Because not growing up with the father, she doesn't actually know who a man is and the respect that is needed by a man. As well as a young man who grows up with the mother, will always have some lack of respect for women because he will be like, my mother is all, my mother is there, she'll do the cooking, she'll do the chores and whatever. And so first of all, there's that point where parents abandon children. There's also the point where children are not being followed up by parents. In schools, teachers often complain that the school is not just a center for children to come and have educational know-how. They often complain that parents should assist them back at home with moral education, moral ethics, constant follow-up. Children are all abandoned to the schools because most parents think that paying school fees to the necessary schools means that the education is going to be excellent. No, that's not the case. Back at home, parents are supposed to make sure that they follow up their kids, guide them, guard them. What do I mean here by guidance? Guidance means they should relate these children on how to love, respect each other, understand, teach them how the society functions, communicate with them. There should not be lack of communication at the level of the sexuality. Here in Africa, we always have that taboo that sexual education is not is prohibited. Meanwhile, the world has evolved. We have the introduction of internet and social media, which is seriously impacting the youth negatively.
Okay, we are certainly going to be coming to you. Reverend Father Christopher Gekun, we are talking here about the family, the church, and the state.
Yes.
And people come from families. The same people are the Christians, and the same people are those working with the state. When we look at young people of our society today, someone was telling me this morning that is it not a paradox that the Pope and other spiritual leaders are doing everything possible using modern means of communication, doing everything possible, to make the youth of our society today better persons, morally God-fearing persons. But on the contrary, perversity is instead increasing.
That's
and
right.
Criminality among young people is increasing. What is happening? Is it that the church is not succeeding in its mission?
Before I go to the church, I want to say that God founded the family, to bring human beings into this world. And the mandate, to parents was to show the way, to their children, in case they have children. And when you look at the case of Adam and Eve, when they started going against, the law of God, something happened. They started neglecting the aftercare of their children. And that's why Cain killed Abel, because they were interested in material things. When the family is materially inclined, you are only out to work for money, you are out for your own pleasure, the children will know nothing. And the church basically will not be able to do something because something tangible to bring that child up in a special way, because basic education is the most important, and it begins in the family. That is why, St. Pope John Paul II concluded that the family is a domestic church, where parents, bring the good news to the children for the first time. When you are born, it is in the family that you get the good news. And so families and couples are prophets of their time. And if you bring your child up well, these are the same children who go to seminaries and they cannot be well formed. And when they come out, that preliminary, that basic education is not there. And going to learn in the seminary does not mean that they uproot, your basic formation. It means that those things will always come back into your ministry. And that is why the church will not be able to have priests or ministers of God who will be able to fight back to make sure that they maintain the vows they took. And consequently, they will not be models in the eyes of the world. And consequently, they will send the children out, like we are having a difficulty now in the Triennial Synod. The Pope, the Archbishop actually launched and called for the Synod in the Archdiocese of Douala because he has witnessed that there are most priests today who are not living their vows, who are not living the ministry, who are not propagating the good news. And this has caused a lot of havoc in the world where many evil pastors and false teachers are outside destroying and destabilizing the world and pretending to say the good news, but they are rather, for something else. Made up stories to have their own, stomach filled. That is, we'll find that in 2 Peter chapter 2, where Jesus, Peter tells us to beware of false prophets. False prophets are not only those who are outside the Catholic Church. False prophets are those who doesn't teach the truth, even if you are a Catholic, even if you are in Christ's church, because Christ taught truth and stood for truth. And if we are not there, we are destroying young people. And if you talk about the family, many parents are not more there for their children. They have gone far away into the world of business. And if you find even the priests, go to the presbyteries, and you will not be able to find many priests ready to welcome young people. That is how we destroy them. Some don't even care whether they receive sacraments or not. Even to sit and listen is not very easy.
J. Martin, you raised quite a number of issues and assignments parents are supposed to, undertake to make their children, better people in society. It's true, you are also a young person, but you have attended a certain age, like a parent. How do you do? How do you contribute as an individual to the well-being of young people?
Well, the society now is very very active. Youths these days really want a lot of action. The young people are always trying to discover something new. And as an individual, I opened up a social, non-governmental social institution, company, which is much more based on entertainment, education for the youths. And this establishment is meant to help youths find their way back, because many youths have been lost due to the fact that these influx of internet and all the other aspects, world aspects, which are corrupting them. So the company I produced is called United Movie Productions, and it's a company which we involve in activities which are there to educate youths, like movies, educative movies, programs, and gospel music, because the youths, as I said, need to have something new. Always constantly perpetuatingly working on the same program all the time becomes boring to young men and to young women. So it is always good to innovate, always good to bring up new ideas and different ways. Since they have started being corrupted by the media, We can still use this very media and bring them back to the right path by showing them what they need to know, what they need to learn, and how they can use these particular institutions and pathways to get back to the right track.
Reverend Father Christopher,
Yes, Sir John.
it has been observed that when young people are failing in society, the blame is always pushed to the government.
That's
it's true
right.
that sometimes moral institutions have a very important role to play. But when you find a society where many young people are not succeeding, we know about young people, immigration, young people leaving the countries in great numbers today, traveling to other countries. People are shifting the blame to the state. And the state has said it's doing its best to make sure that young people are happy and live better lives where they are, and that the state alone cannot completely do the job. Where is the problem with the state coming from?
The first thing is that the state has activities and events that help a lot of young people, like professional activities. You know, when you go to the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise, they actually help youth. It's ignorance, and the people who are there do nothing to sensitize the society to make sure that this youth know exactly what the state is doing. And you do not hear about it. They don't come to the radio to talk about what the state is doing for young people. That's already destroying them, because you find thousands of them coming out, but there are programs that come out, but you will see that those programs will just come and disappear. And what was put in there, we don't know what becomes of the resources that are put in that place. And the government has the power to organize the youth in a way that the future of the nation depends on the force of young people. But if you look at the professional formation in Cameroon, it is too little. So the government is failing in the sense that they don't encourage professional education for their young people so that youth can be self-employed. And even if they do, like the Archbishop has decided this time that every parish will have a youth center where youth will learn how to do something with their hands, with their professional know-how. That is what the government should be doing in all dimensions. You bear with me, John, that if they are blaming the government, it is because we are all adults. We are the government. We, all of us, whether the family, the church, or the state, we are the government, because we are the ones showing the way. When you look at the high level of embezzlement in a country like ours, how many young people are there? Is it not bankrupting, the nation that should serve everybody? And if you go to our educational curriculum, the moral upbringing is scraped off. I don't know what is happening. How can you be forming human beings without forming the moral? What are we going to? What is that going to produce? I think that is something serious. I work with young people. Sometimes I cry because you see them acting like beasts, because you have not given them what is necessary. It's a serious problem. And when the church is coming in, there is no support. There is no, you are in rather challenged when you are bringing in, this particular morality. That's why you find like the CWA, held their annual general meeting, and they talked of moral decadence in school milieus. It is horrible. It is the debase of character, of behavioral manners in the schools. And you find them, why are they involved in drug abuse, in sexual malpractices, in evil? Because the moral part is not there. And if you go to, schools that are like Christian schools, you will realize that at least that part there is prone. It is not as rampant there as in public schools. And so we've realized that, no, the state should do more, because in that way, they destroy the faith of young people. Young people are discouraged. They are not having it as it's supposed to be.
On the school of life, and we are bringing you the school of society, the family, the church, and the state, talking about young people, how these structures that are supposed to be the molders of the lives of young people are sometimes detrimental to what young people are supposed to be in future, what young people are supposed to be, moral, personalities in our future of today. We shall be coming back with maybe some of the proposals, what can be done in a situation like this. The church, the state, and the family, which are the backbone structures of molding young people, how can these structures really help young people to be better citizens in future? School of Life, Veritas Radio and Television. Reverend Father Christopher.
Yes, John.
The church, the state, and even the family.
Mm-hmm.
How can these structures work together to make young people better future citizens? Because we find the same people in all these three structures.
Yes, once you belong to the family, that is, belonging to the family is making yourself part and parcel of the family, making sure that the family is a divine institution by God. You don't bring in your own principles in the family. You listen to the author of the family and bring the family, because, John Wood said the family is the best thing society can have. And it is from the family that you go to the church. The church that you get the totality of the divinity of God to spread to the world. Because after every celebration, as especially Mass, the priest says, the Mass is ended. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord. The church is the face of God in the world. It is heaven on earth. And so we need to give what is heavenly to the people to make sure that society is the best place. When you are a good Christian, you can make the best of society. But if you are not a good family member, you can never make a good church, and you can never make a good society. So the family is the basic, domain where people should be well formed. I want to ask the parents, those who are getting into marriage, now don't scatter your life, spoil your life before you enter into the family. They come to the church to tell you how to enter into family. That's why fiancé is followed up by the church. Before you finally get married, the church has given you all that is necessary to make a better family. But more than 90% of married people do not come there. Some just give birth anyhow. That is not, a human being should not be given to this world anyhow, because God took time to create the human being and give you something. Before you get a partner, pray and ask God, seek the face of God. Today is not like that. Even in a state like ours, they encourage polygamy. In other countries, polygamy is legalized. And some don't even go to court to legalize it. They just have everything. So you find the adult has blocked the way for the young man. They don't have any way. And in the state, the church should try, especially the ministers, the pastors, and even those who call themselves prophets, to live a truthful life, to struggle to live truthful life, and give Jesus to people, not themselves. And that is where the state, like in our country, politicians should know their limit. They should have the fear of God in them, because Solomon had the fear of God. David had the fear of God, and it is frightful to have a bad leader, a bad priest, a bad man of God, and a bad family. It is very destructive and dangerous.
Everything seems not to be moving the way it's supposed to go. What can we do to have a better future for better young people?
Well, as Father said, the family is the core. Parents are supposed to carry on their duty. Bringing children into the world is the first stage of it, and taking care of them is the second stage. And as Father said, children need to come to this world legally. That means they have to come with the acceptance and the full agreement of God. So I would advise young men and young women that before having children, they should seek the presence of God. They should come and receive the necessary blessings so that when they produce children, these children should have a base. As I said earlier, it is very necessary for parents not only to seek for the financial means to take care of these children, but try to always be there for the kids, guide them and guard them, and make sure that they give the best moral, hygienic education they can give to the children, sensitize the children, update them about the weaknesses of the world, and try as much as possible to make them understand that the world is unjust, but they have to make sure that they can force themselves, fight their way into this unjust world and still become better people.
We can have a world that is just. It's very possible to have a just world. Is it possible to have a crime-free world, a world where everybody is living at peace and there are no problems? It's very possible. Reverend Father Christopher,
Yes.
it's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank Martin, who has acted with his team, AFIM, the messenger, in answer to the Archbishop's call for the synod. And I think that it will be a privilege for us, to watch, that movie, because they'll be launching it this Sunday, on the 26th of this month in Collège de la Salle. So I want to thank God for him, because this is something wonderful that will help our young people to watch and can resist the temptations of the society.
Mr. Nkio Martin, thank you once again for coming.
Thank you.
It's the School of Life. We hope you learned something from this school, and we will continue, helping young people. We'll continue contributing to the building of society. And why not? I said it's possible to have a crime-free world, a crime-free society. I've been John Neba in Douala, Cameroon.